The video that will end your self-sabotage, guaranteed to spark a flame. So, self-sabotage, what is it? And how can we get to the root of the manifestation? Self-sabotage is almost, first of all, it's a conflict, right? Hence, sabotage. And to look at the conflict that is moving within us, how can we simplify it? Because when we simplify things, it seems to allow for understanding and a real learning. You know, schools teach us that learning is remembering. You know, learning is storing knowledge in our mind. Now, that is one thing, right? To store knowledge is necessary. As in, we need to employ knowledge to speak any language. You know, the brain is matter. We have the brain inside our skull, and the brain cells store memory and knowledge and experience, all derived from our past, from age 0, right? But we know humanity's been ticking before we were born, right? We're in 2024. There's been a history. Right? Humanity has a history. Now, how much do we know? Well, we can believe books, but now, when we talk about self-sabotage, I go this route, and I'm going to look at science, right? Because science has its place. Science sprouts from knowledge. Technological advancement is beautiful. But if we're going to end our self-sabotage, we have to understand the root. And the root is within our brain, the matter, the brain cells, our memory, our past, our experiences, our knowledge. And then we replay the past into the present, which is our thinking. Now, I'm not saying don't think, because self-sabotage is something that has to be looked at. Now, not necessarily thought about, but looked at. You see, when I use the word to look, I am hinting at an essence which is an inquiry. An inquiry where you are asking questions so simple that you create the space to learn, because the questions are of a quality where you are not using your knowledge, your memory, your experience to answer the questions. You are tapping into something beyond the physical matter, which is, held in the brain cells. But an inquiry where you are truly on the edge of the plank, where every moment is almost unpredictable. And that unpredictability is the only security in life. So, now here we are. Self-sabotage. This thing happens because we're seeking security. Okay? So, how can we start to learn about the nature of vulnerability? To be vulnerable is to be honest with ourselves. And only when we are deeply honest and real about the nature in which our mind works, the movement, the thoughts, the judgments that we have on a daily basis, and we start to slow the mind down, to have the sensitivity to notice what is happening, because the processes, the mechanism, which is the brain, the thought, the knowledge, the memory, that is all happening, so fast. It's happening fast. So what we have to do to end self-sabotage is to start to simplify the way that we live. Right? To understand that we have a vessel, this vessel has requirements, right? If you fuel the vessel poorly, you don't sleep right, you sabotage your sleep with substances constantly, what happens, right? The vessel wears down. And only when you take the utmost care of this vehicle, this instrument, then can you start to not improve yourself, right? Because there's a motive behind improving yourself, which is shallow. Now, of course, on one layer, you're going to have to acquire skills to make money to pay for the physical things which, the vessel needs: water, food, clothing, etc. But to end self-sabotage, it starts with tapping into an intelligence beyond yourself. And that is really founded upon this simplicity. this inquiry where the questions are so pure and simple that the questions guide you. And that's really the art of inquiry, the art of simplicity. So to stop self-sabotage, we cannot just think about it, create a plan. It doesn't work like that. You can try and give it a shot, but it just doesn't work like that, right? Because we have to make the things which were unconscious conscious. And that can only happen through this sensitivity, this intelligence beyond you, beyond your brain. So I'll leave you with that. The bottom line is that, even listening to this video, maybe taking a few notes or journaling afterward, that's going to be like the start to your inquiry. Or I don't mean to imply you aren't inquiring already, but I'll leave you with that. If you enjoyed this, I have a free sort of masterclass, a 2-day structured plan. Subscribe below. That'll be in the link below. Have a great day. Let's go.